afternoon and welcome to A View from the South Stand. This is your instant match reaction to Tottenham Hotspur 2, Bournemouth 3. It's a somber one. I don't quite know what to say really. I think we've seen it all now. I think everyone just about wants the season to be done with, but listen, here we are. We're going to get the match reactions. I would invite the guests on the show now. We've got Dave from the Park Lane podcast. Welcome to the show, Dave. And we've also got Ian Meth with us as well, joining us on the show. Good evening to you both.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear.
That's fine.
Ian, nice to have you with us on the show. Chaps, it's a dark day today, but then again, every week's a dark day with Tottenham, even when we're winning against the likes of Brighton last week. But look, we all know what happened today, so I'm just going to get straight into it, and I'm just going to start with Dave. And what happened today, Dave? Just
firstly, thanks for having me back.
No, you're welcome.
I apologise that I can be quite opinionated. I can get quite frustrated. So I apologise now if anyone gets offended, but I'm pig sick. I am pig sick for this club, top to bottom. What happened today was exactly what I said would happen when Conte got sacked and they decided to put Stellini in charge. You are putting a man who is Conte's right-hand man in charge of footballing matters when you want to get rid of Conte and Conte's style. All you're doing is carrying on Conte's style with Stellini. The whole club is a mess. The whole club is a complete and utter mess. Like I said, I put out a tweet not long ago. I've never, ever been so disillusioned being a Tottenham fan than I am at the moment. I don't know where we're going. I don't know what direction we're heading in. The football is, I made a joke on our podcast saying that I've been at Haven the last week and the kids' entertainment was more entertaining than watching Tottenham for 90 minutes. It's painful. Players like Sanchez are getting thrown to the wolves. We all know he's not good enough, but he's being made a scapegoat. He's a player that's been at the club for 7 years. That shouldn't have been at the club for as long as he has. He should have left 2 or 3 years ago. Today was, like I said, I said on the podcast exactly what I expected it to be. We take the lead, we sit back, we invite pressure. With that pressure, we panic. We don't have defenders that are good enough to be able to hold leads. Our goalkeeper is well past his best. Our back line is well past their best. And people can say, but you missed chances today and etc. And Richarlison missed a header and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You're at home to Bournemouth. Why are you conceding 3 goals at home to Bournemouth? It's the same story every single week. And I'm sick of saying it, but we're Spreadsheet Football Club. We're not Tottenham Football Club. It's all about the numbers. It's all about the bottom line. We're a club that charges the highest amount for season tickets because we've got this soulless bowl of a stadium. The atmosphere in that place is barely ever brilliant. It's not. We charge stupid amounts of money. We don't invest correctly on the pitch. We would rather do the cheap option. You talk about managers like Conte and Mourinho and Pochettino. They all come to Tottenham and they fail. Why do they fail? I'll tell you why they fail. Because the same players are still there. Eric Dyer is still there. Sanchez has been there 7 years. All these players have got numerous managers sacked over and over and over again. The same story comes out every time. They don't like the training. It's too hard. They're disillusioned with the manager and his tactics. They don't understand. You get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week not to understand. You put in performances like that every week and you expect us to come on a show and talk about how great you are. You're not. It's a shower of shit. And I'm so fed up of it. I'm so fed up of it. Today is exactly what I thought would happen. It's the same thing that's been happening all season. I cannot wait for the season to be over. I don't even want to watch Tottenham anymore. Sorry to go on.
No. I mean, look, this is a space to have your say, Dave, and I echo everything that you just said. Just after the game today, there's rumours that, well, not so much rumours, but Eric Dyer will be offered a new contract on a 3-year basis. That it doesn't shock me at all, to be honest with you. But look, I mean, I've got the game in front of me here at the moment, and I can, I'm looking at the game. From whatever angle you look at it, it's just not acceptable. You're playing at home against a club who's battling relegation. Okay, they're putting decent performances against some of the bigger clubs this season, but certainly we should be putting these sorts of teams to the sword. Ian, I'm sure you're going to give us a detailed outlook on it, so I'll come straight to you. But where did you watch the game today? Was you at home? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. I managed to get a stream. I wish I
I mean,
hadn't. In fact, the first 20 minutes, the stream was wobbling in and out. The worst thing.
Well, you missed the first 20. That means you missed the best part of the game, Ian.
Well, I mean, it was dropping in and out, and there was bits I was seeing twice. So I saw enough. But I want to come on here and tell Dave he's talking the biggest load of crap I've ever heard about Tottenham. This constant negativity. For God's sake, let's get behind the club, get behind the team. I can't. It's for someone who is broadly supportive of the club, its direction, its owners, its players. Nothing is defendable any longer. There does come a point where even if I say moderates like me can turn around and say it's just a shambles. The club has been dysfunctional from top to bottom for some while. And even when you look at, you go, okay, everything's in place. He's brought in Paratici as his director of football. He's moving away. Paratici's got his man in Conte. Everything is set up there perfectly well. We've got full revenues from the stadium in terms of match income, extraneous activities like boxing, concerts. Everything's there. And then you look at what's on the field, and it's a complete and utter shambles. The players aren't good enough yet. I don't like to see players booed and jeered, booed on and cheered off like Sanchez. But the problem, as I say, and one of the things I do hark on about and perhaps disagree with some on is when we say about, they don't spend the money, 80 million pounds worth of talent. And I use that word in its loosest connotation on that right-hand side once Lenglet went off. Davison Sanchez and Pedro Porro. And what an utter disaster the two of them were. 80 million pounds. That's not underinvestment. That's bad investment. And even, sorry, Taz, that bad what I said. And even Pedro Porro, I mean, I gather tonight has deleted his Instagram and deleted his Twitter accounts, presumably because he's getting all kind of abuse on it, which is unfortunate because there's no excuse for that. But the reality is he can't defend. Good going forward. Looked like he might create something when he got the ball in the final third. But he cannot defend. And I don't suppose many people watching would have seen his performance for the first 45 minutes against Scotland at Hampden Park the other week. I mean, he was absolutely abominable, was exploited time and time again and was eventually hooked at half-time. Who is doing the due diligence on these signings? Because we had Spence that the manager said, oh, that's...
I've lost him.
Ian, sound. Your sound's gone, Ian.
Just to quickly touch on a point that he made while he's sorting his sound out in terms of spending money and signings and everything else. It's not about spending loads of money, and this is what annoys me about. And people are like, oh, your manager's been backed, and you're this, you're that. It's not about like spending money. It's about getting the players your manager wants. If your manager comes to the chairman and says, "I need 35-year-old Ashley Young to play right back you go and get him. If your manager comes and says, not too keen on this player, I know you want him for the future, but for now, I don't think we need him. I feel like we need to invest in other areas. You do that. You don't just go, oh, we've signed this player, here you go. You signed that player, oh, here you go. Oh, look, we spent this money on this player, here you go. We got Basuma. It's a great deal. It probably will work out in the long term. But was he a player that Conte went, yeah, I really want him? Because all the talk for me was around Barella. He wanted Barella. He wanted Bastoni.
Well, because it fits into his system.
Exactly.
It fits into it, it's a part of the jigsaw. That is, probably the piece that he's missing, the piece that he wants. But yet we go out and we buy something that, it's like buying a part for your engine that doesn't fit. Yep. It's not going to run properly. But it doesn't surprise me at all. You've got the likes of Longley, who apparently we're trying to buy on a permanent deal now. And this is obviously not in consultation with the new manager that we're, supposedly bringing in. So, what's happened to sort of talking to the manager, gauging what they need?
Who do you want? Who do you think we need in this squad?
And who, if we can't attain the person that you want,
who's
what is the next closest thing to, person to that,
Another problem we have as a club, and I've said this numerous times again on our podcast, is that we don't get rid of players. We hang on and hang on. I said last week there was a time when Dele Alli, Poch was at PSG. They were offering 50 million for him. Everyone could see he was done. Everybody could see it. But Levy was like, no, I want more. Then they wouldn't pay more. And then we gave him away for free to Everton. So it's even things like the Mac Doherty situation isn't good enough. So they're like, oh, we'll loan him out. Oh, hang on a minute. We can't. We've got too many loans. We just have to release him. That's awful from the top.
It's shocking.
And that's the problem.
And this is the other thing, Dave. I mean, other players looking at that and thinking, is that what's going to happen to me if I go to Tottenham?
Yep.
If shit hits the fan and I need to move on, or I don't want to move on, and the club are going to turn around and say, we're ripping up your contract.
Yep.
From top to bottom, there's problems at this club. We all know that. It was evident. I can appreciate everyone's just trying to, over the last couple of weeks, we've just been trying to support the team and try and get us over the line in this top 4 race, which, personally speaking, I don't really care about anymore, to be honest. But look, I just want to talk about the game at hand today. And there are a lot of things to talk about. But the first 20 minutes, we started okay. We were trying to get on the front foot. We was playing was closing players down. Son for me started the game off brilliantly. He got his goal. Perisic with the cutback, and Son finished it off coolly, slotted it in. But it's like when we score, we just revert back to type. Let's just go back into our shell and see what happens.
See if we
we were punished again. Yes, Longley went off. Davinson Sanchez come in and we conceded pretty much soon after. It's just what it is. We can't lay all the blame on one player. Yes, the second goal as well. He poked the ball through to was it Solanke that scored? Solanke? He poked the ball through to Solanke when he was trying to tackle, and he prods the ball in. It's just not happening for him. But like you said, he was thrown to the wolves today.
Yep.
The fans booed him since the moment he come onto the pitch. And I must say, I did feel a bit sorry for him sitting on the bench. You can see he was visibly upset from it. But at the same time, this guy should not be playing for us from this point onwards. Should not. He's just not good enough. And that's no indictment on his personality or him as a person. He's just not good enough. The same way Dyer is not good enough to be starting for us. And that's the bottom line. That's the facts.
Even Longley. I don't think Longley is good enough to be starting.
For me, Longley, there's a reason why Barca loaned him out and then tried to sell him on. He just wasn't, cutting the mustard there. And if you're not cutting the mustard at Barcelona, then why would we want you? It stinks of, on the cheap side, typical Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
We'll get the loan and then try and get him on the cheap, which is what's happening now. But look, all the tools were there today when we went a goal up to try and put them to the sword and finish it off. Right? If you look at City today, 3-0 up in 24 minutes, and at half time he made changes.
Yep,
changed almost the entire squad by half time.
And that's how it should be.
We don't have any other commitments, like no cup games, no European games. Should be no excuse as to these, for these players going out on the pitch. There should be no excuses. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, this, oh, that, or fatigue or injury. No, I don't want to hear that. I do not want to hear that. There should be no excuse whatsoever. I'll bring Ian into it. Ian, we're still having issues with your audio, Ian.
This is Mike. It seems like he's muted.
I think it's your mic or something. Try unplugging the mic, Ian, if you've got a mic.
Maybe leave and come back in. Probably going to be best.
Yeah, Ian, I'm going to take you off the stream if you want to leave and then come back in and I'll put you back in.
There we go.
Yeah, Dave. What do you think? Because for me, it's just unacceptable. And at one point in the game, we had 5 attackers on the pitch, and we still couldn't break them down.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just so
the quality isn't there, mate. And it's like you look at if you can assess our team from back to front. Hugo in goal hasn't been good enough. I made a controversial statement at the start of the season that Forster will replace Lloris towards the end of the season and he'll perform better. He was performing better. Lloris got fit. They brought him straight back in for some weird reason. And then you look at the fullbacks today. Porro's, is awful defensively. Perisic hasn't been great defensively. And you look at the back three. You have Longley, who's not great. Romero's been off it since he came back from the World Cup. And Eric Dyer, who's a failed right back / defensive midfielder / now our main centre back. You then go into midfield. You've got Skippy, who's young, obviously. You've got Højbjerg, who isn't good enough. He doesn't get into another top 6 team centre midfield, in my opinion. You start looking at the forward line. Kulu's been well off it for so long. Sonny's had a really poor season. He looks like he's getting some sort of form because he's being allowed to go further forward, which is kind of what we need. And Harry's Harry. So it's one of those ones where you look at our team and there's probably 6 players there that wouldn't get into another top 6 team side. Could you see Højbjerg in City's team, Liverpool's team, Arsenal's team, even Brighton's team? They wouldn't get ahead of McAllister or Caicedo, but he is a firm starter for Tottenham. The negative football is so draining, and you can hear it in the crowd when you're watching the games. They pick up the ball, you go forward, it goes to Højbjerg in the middle, he does a pirouette and then plays it back towards Hugo. And even the crowd are like, what the fuck is going on here? What's going on here? How are we watching this? How is this the same every single week? We go into this hollow shell where we're like, okay, we've scored now, let's see it out. The fact of the matter is the players ain't good enough to see it out. This squad is a top 8, 9th squad. I pray we don't get any European football this season. I really hope the other teams catch us. We finish 8th because this whole team needs a rebuild.
I mean, if you look at the league table at the moment, you got the likes of Villa today. Yeah. They were outstanding.
Unai Emery's finished, though, apparently.
Absolutely put Newcastle to the sword. And Newcastle's meant to be the ones that, are up and coming. Ollie Watkins, that guy, Unai Emery, what he's done at that club at the moment, playing... Mm-hmm. I mean, he's playing 37-year-old young at left back, right? He's working miracles at that club, honestly. But look, I just want to say, I just want to introduce Brian Daigle to the show. Brian, welcome to the show, mate. It's been a long while. We haven't spoken in a long while. How are you?
First of all, good to see you, brother. Park Lane, Dave, nice to meet you, buddy. Hope you're good. What can I say, mate? What? There's... I'm having to be very careful this evening. Very, very careful, because people will know I can be very volatile. People can know that I will shout, scream, and go. I am just sickened by this football club. I am sickened by what it represents. I am devastated for what it stands by. I am beyond destroyed at how much of a bad a club we've come. I am sick to death with how rotten this football club is. And I'm not just talking the board. They are the number one problem, and I will always say that. The manager is a disgrace. Donna Cullen is a disgrace. Stellini is pathetic. These players are the most spineless, gutless, toothless, prima donna bitches. They need to go. You could have picked 11 people in the stands today. You could have picked 11 fans, and they would have shown more passion and desire and aggression and commitment than that. I am sickened by my club. I'm ashamed of them. Ashamed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brian, you was I'm assuming you was at a protest today outside the stadium. I understand there was quite a few people there. Just talk me through the protest. Was there a big turnout? Was there much support there for the protest? Because just before Brian seems to
something you said.
There was. I'll get Brian back on. Brian, that's all right, mate. I was just going to say, by the end of the second half, people were disgruntled, booing, everything else. I just want to say, where were those people during the protest who were booing at the end of the game? Where were you all?
So do you know what? One of the
right to boo if you don't want to do something about this football club at the moment. And the one way that we have to get this started is by protesting, not by saying it's not going to make any difference. I mean, what was it like, Brian?
So first of all, I mean, before I start telling what people is, I'll just say the person that's on the stream that's now right above me is a dear friend of mine. We had the pleasure. We have a undying love for Tottenham Hotspur, and we agree on 95% of the things. We disagree here and there, or more than here and there, on the board, which is fine. But the point I'm getting at, Ian and I always do it respectfully. I've got a ton of respect for him, vice versa. Whenever we converse, whether it be on a stream, whether it be via written tweets, never any animosity, never any name calling, never any. So I get called negative, toxic, not a Spurs fan. Do it for the clicks and the likes and the views. The stuff I've been saying when it comes to, I said today's game comes down to desire. Their desire to want to stay in the Premiership towards our desire to want a match bonus and try and get Champions League music, and their desire outside. So the protest, we get a lot of abuse thrown our way. A lot. But don't get me wrong, there's leaving out people that throw it straight back on Twitter. I'm known for not being one of those because I will not, and Ian will back me up that I do not get personal. I do not ever. But we went again today, and there was a turnout. Still not the greatest to turn out. Still not the greatest. Still get people trying to mock it and do whatever. And then they get that. What I don't get is during that game, at one point there was I wasn't in the game. I didn't go in today. It was my nephew's birthday, so that was more important to me. But you had, again, a large amount of people singing Levy out. Well, where are you? Where are you outside the club shop when we get lambasted for like 20, 30, maybe 60 or 70 some games, but we stand by what we believe. I put myself, funny enough, I'm kind of, a lot of heat comes my way because of what I do on YouTube, and I'm very vocal on Twitter. So that's part of the territory. I get it. But there's so many people on Twitter or in these YouTube chats that give it all this. Oh, I'm coming. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to come here. And when it comes to it, well, we're standing out there in the rain, the sun, the whatever, freezing my ass off in January with Graham and Ryan at 6 a.m. outside a training ground for the month of January. We back up what we say. We do.
I think what's the point, FC?
This is the thing. And then we do it again, and we're going to be doing it for Crystal Palace. We're going to be doing it for Brentford. There's big plans for Brentford inside the stadium as well. I'm not going to get into that, but there are huge plans. I'll speak to you off camera about it. But if it doesn't happen after Brighton, it was like, oh, we won a game. Woohoo, well done. We won everything. Everything resets because we won one game. It's like, forget what's going on. We've won a game and top four. And you look at it once again, Antonio Conte is bang on the money.
Spot on.
These players had a little bit of pressure on them today because Newcastle screwed up. You're at home to a struggling Bournemouth. And you know one thing I will say? I am disgusted by the Spurs fan base. Today I am disgusted by them. And the reason I'm saying I'm disgusted by them, today we've had Porro disarm or disable his Twitter and his Instagram because of abuse he's got.
Absolutely deplorable.
He's been here for 3 months. Davinson Sanchez, no matter what you think of him as a player, he's not good enough. We all know that. But we won't sell him because we can't get the money for him. And we won't buy a replacement because we won't spend on apparently we'll buy a defender the next window. But you're booing him when he comes on, cheering him when he goes off. Yet you've had 23 years of a man sitting there. And it's like, oh, well, we got the state. Not. But you know what I mean? How can you boo these players? They're not good enough. Any other manager, with Mesut Ozil and Aubameyang at Arsenal, Arteta goes, they're the problem, get them out. This is Arteta's first managerial job. That's 700 grand a week's worth of talent. Their top two's like the top. Okay, off you go. Bye-bye, manager, don't want you. Steve Perryman, Ian will know this. Steve Perryman put a tweet out a couple of weeks ago where it said it was 2 players laying on the old training pitch. And you say, this is how it used to be. You came into the club learning the Tottenham way. You adapted. And if you went up against the manager, there's only one winner. Bill Nick. Bill Nick. You went up against Bill Nick. Goodbye. You go up against Fergie. Your Beckhams, your Van Nistelrooys, your bye-bye. Here, oh, did the manager upset you? Did he hurt you? Did he call you names? Oh, we best get rid of him. Let's keep. I'm sickened by this club. I'm sickened by the fans today. I'm sick. This club is rotten. I'll let Ian speak now.
Yeah, I mean, Ian will come to you.
Can you actually hear me?
Yeah, we got
we
you.
can hear you now. You better get your words in as quick as you can before you get cut off again.
No, it's all right. Hopefully, all right.
Do you share Brian's sentiment? Look.
Yeah, and the thing is, one of the reasons why I got on, and there was stuff from Bobby in the chat. I can't actually see the chat at the moment, but was when I first got involved because Bobby wanted someone that wasn't just one of the constant Levy out brigade and to try and get some balance. But there is a reality here that if you're in any walk of life in business and you make this number of errors this many times, you lose your job.
Yep.
Now, if you own the company and you keep making those kind of mistakes, what usually happens is that the business goes to the wall, or at least its sales are such that the shareholders, if they're not family members or whatever, make a decision because they don't want their investment to go out the window. The problem that you've got as a football club is we're not customers. We actually don't have. We cannot go, but as most of you will know, if you don't go, someone else will take your place. Whether it's on the season tickets or whatever. But I want to. You were on a bit late, Brian. I was on and then I went off because I had an issue with the Wi-Fi. Dave said very similar things to what you've said. And I said to him earlier, I want to disagree with you. I want to say, no, you're barking up the wrong tree. This is not right about this or whatever. But the more you look at it, the more there has to be there's a Potts thing. I heard about that. The more you look at it, the more you come to realize that there is little or no possibility of the club continuing under the present regime, because once again, I mean, you go back to when we sacked Mourinho, put Mason in charge. You get a history repeating it. Here you put Mason in charge because we'll get somebody in the summer. You try all summer to get targets. Nobody wants to come, and then you end up with Nuno, who's a complete disaster. By November, you've got a thumping defeat to Man United. The crowd are singing, "You don't know what you're doing," and Levy hits the panic button, and in comes Conte. And you go, who is going to want the job? Seriously, who is going to want the job? Now, I'm hoping this guy, Scott Munn, maybe makes a difference. I don't know if Levy is not. Yeah, I don't know why. I know why you're saying that, and people just think everybody's a yes man for Levy. The only thing I'll say is, if you don't want ENIC, and I have no loyalty to ENIC whatsoever. If somebody comes along that I think is better than ENIC, then I'm ENIC out and the new lot in as well. But you could get this imbecile Bowley coming in that you've got at Chelsea. Now, you think we've got problems. They don't have massive problems at the moment, but they've got massive problems coming because they've just taken on £600 million worth of players. I don't know how many of them are going to be in their first team. You've got a surfeit of midfield players. You've got financial fair play issues. You've got no forwards. And I'll have it for 15 million a year done. So, be careful what you wish for. And I'm not saying that as any means of let's hold on to the present board. If you've got somebody coming in, it's got to be somebody or an organisation with a clear business strategy to get this club where it needs to be. Because, as I said, everything is in place for us to be massive. I mean, absolutely massive. But I don't think we can do it under Levy. I genuinely no longer believe that the kangaroo drink.
Can I just touch on something that Brian said really quickly? Brian, obviously, you mentioned about the protests, and nothing annoys me more than hearing about the protests because you sit there and you watch 15,000 people sign a petition to get Levy out. But when it comes to it, and when it comes to actually supporting the cause or being there, they don't turn up. No one turns up. You look at other clubs. When United wanted Woodward out, they had thousands of people at the stadium. Arsenal, they wanted Kroenke out after the Super League. Thousands of people turn up. Thousands. And it's a shame that people are so that people mock it and everything else. At the end of the day, Brian goes every single time to the protest. That should be praised. Because instead of bitching about it on Twitter, he's actually doing something with his feet.
Dave, Brian actually lives in Canada as well. Let me just put that out there.
Wow. So this is and you know what I mean? That's commitment. So the problem we've got is Tottenham has now become this marketable club. It's not a football club, it's an entertainment club now. We are marketable to whole of Asia because of Sonny and because of everything else. And we are a joke. And the reality of it is Ian's right as well, is that if two people stop renewing their season tickets, two more is going to take their place. No one goes with their feet. No one does what they say they're going to do. All I see is hashtag ENIC out, hashtag Levy out. Let's get it trending. Great, it's trending. But where the fuck are you when it matters? Yeah.
Dave, you got to remember as well, mate. What you got to add to that is Manchester United was singing "We Want the Glazers Out" 2-0 in a final at Wembley.
Yep.
They're still singing it. This is what it comes to. One thing I will say with you, David, is I know for a fact that a lot of people signed this petition as well, and a lot of this comes from the international fan base as well. The international fan base, I'll tell you now, the way people in America protest when it comes to their sports teams, Canada that I know well, and other people, if they were here, we'd have the numbers.
Yeah.
They physically can't get here week in, week out because of obviously the flight, the travel, the distance. It's not easy, but like Has said, the first protest I went to was not the NFL one that's just gone, the one before. So we're talking 2021. 2021. And when I came over in October, it was when COVID, you could start flying over finally. I had my second COVID jab in Canada in July, the day England beat Germany in the Euros.
Yeah.
So technically, 2 weeks after that, I could have flown home and seen my family, my nephews, my niece that I hadn't seen for 2.5 years. But I knew if I did that, I couldn't come back in October for the protests. So I held off seeing my family, who I hadn't seen for 2.5 years. My niece and nephews who are my world, to make sure I could be at the protest. The January, not the January just gone, the January before, me, Ryan Isaacs, Graham that began it, we're outside the training ground at 6, 7 a.m. every single morning from the 14th of July till the 31st. We do what we say what we do. And it's like, do you know what? I don't even care anymore if people say they're coming, come. If you're not going to come, don't. It's like I didn't know my brother Ashmatic was joining us here. He came to the protest last week. He travelled all the way from fucking South London.
Yeah, big
Weren't even going to the game. He came from South London to North London for a couple of hours to lend his support and then went home. People do that. There are people today from Peterborough doing it. So there's no excuses. There's no excuse. They wanted it at the home ground. They said when we did it at the training ground, why don't you do it at the stadium? Because then when people are at the stadium, there's like 60,000 people there. We could. Well, where are you? As Delia Smith once said.
Yeah. I just want to take this time to introduce Ash to the show. Ash, welcome to the show, mate. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you for ages as well. Obviously, you've been listening to what everyone's been saying, Dave, Ian, Brian, about the protests and everything else. I'm going to ask for your opinion on things as well, especially the game today as well. Also, I just want to say quickly, for whoever's watching, thanks for joining the show and the chat as well. Do get involved. Please make sure you click on that like button as well. And please make sure you subscribe if you like what you see. Ash, there was protest outside the game, outside the stadium today, before the game. We do need to do a lot more. People do need to, get off their butts and, taking some form of action. But before we get to that, I just want to gauge your feelings on the game today, because first 20 minutes, it was looking like, do you know what? They've shown a reaction to last week despite that win, and then just sort of reverted back to type. So just talk us through your point of view on the game and what you thought of it.
Yeah, first 20 minutes, we were playing well. We were creating chances. We were slightly more front-footed than Bournemouth. I think it's like every time after we score, it's like we allow teams back in the game for some reason. And I understand you get like a momentum swing. So sometimes, you're not always going to have possession. You're not always going to have the ball. It's not always going to be like, gun-ho Tottenham or at them. But in my opinion, for me, it's like we switch off. And there's nothing you can do tactically to change that. If players switch off, there's nothing you can do. And sometimes as a player, if you don't make that extra effort, and it's just literally millimeters, it's centimeters, it's meters. If you don't take that extra step and you don't exert yourself a little bit more, or stretch your leg out a little bit more, or keep running, sometimes you just need to keep running and just win that. I know it sounds typical, but that second ball, because that is the difference between us and them. Literally, they're just that desire. Well, when Conte was talking about, that's what he was talking about. It's that extra bit of desire. That's what carries you over into the next game. That's what gets you the win. Nothing to do with tactics anymore. And that's the reason why we kind of let them back in. Like sometimes it was decision making that let us back in. When obviously Sanchez came on, he's passed it out to Porro, but Porro is surrounded by 3 players. Now, for me, if you're surrounded by 3 players, give it back to Sanchez. Sanchez can turn out and he can pass it across the box, give it back to the keeper. You've got so many options. But bad decision making to give it to Porro, and then bad decision making by Porro to keep dribbling. That's how we got caught. Yeah. That's how we lost possession, put ourselves in a situation that we didn't need to be in. And then as a result, they score from it. And then all of a sudden, heads start to drop. And it's those type of things you can't really coach out. It's more of a personnel thing. Do you know what I mean? So 1-1 that happens. Miraculously, we managed to go down 2-1, and it's for the same reason. Again, we lose the ball, and I see Emerson Royale, his body shape's wrong. He's not showing the play on the outside. The basics of defending. Show the play on the outside. Don't show him in the inside. Say that again?
You said Emerson Royale. Did you mean Sanchez?
Sanchez, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's right.
That's how you used to say him, Royale, isn't he?
Sanchez, like his body shape was wrong. And so sometimes when your body shape's wrong, it's hard for you to
adjust
quick enough to get back into a good shape where you can defend properly. And even Eric Dyer, with him, even Højbjerg, sometimes they're flat-footed. They're not on their toes. And so they make mistakes. And those small little yards, that's when it happens. That's when the teams start to kind of get a run on you, so to speak. And that's literally what happened on the second goal. Out-muscled, outrun, out-fought. They weren't thinking 2 steps ahead. No one was thinking, right, if Sanchez gets beat, like Porro obviously got beaten. So Sanchez, take a couple yards off. You know where the player wants to be. Take a couple yards off, drop off, and defend. Do you know what I mean? Because I saw Romero get back in time to make a sliding challenge, but it was too little too late. But because he hasn't got that football brain, or he hasn't got that kind of foresight to say, right, you know what, I want to show this player down the line. I know the goal is here in the middle. I need to cut off that route. That wasn't happening. Do you know what I mean?
Ash, do you think that's the difference? But I just wanted to get it out there. But with the defenders, right, you got Eric Dyer, Romero. Romero's the only one that's proactive, and the other lot are just reactive. But they're not good enough to be reactive. They're not.
That's what I'm talking about.
To be a reactive defender, you need to be of the highest standard to be a reactive defender that can make the challenge and get your body in the right position.
That's what I mean. It's more than just the body shape, because it is a collective of things. It is your body shape. It is seeing it before it happens, having that picture early, so you can get yourself and your teammates out of trouble, just in case they make mistakes, because you do make mistakes in games. But guess what? You need that player. But it's the reaction. It's the reaction, and the reaction is way too slow. And that's what I'm talking about: being flat-footed and not being able and turning like a bus driver or lorry driver. And that's the reason why we went 2-1 down. Do you know what I mean? And I hear people talking about 5 at the back, 4 at the back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 5 or 4 at the back, because it's no longer on formation. It's no longer on tactics. It's down to personnel, and it's how quickly they can react to a bad situation. And if they can't react to a bad situation and help their teammates out, it's going to continue. It's going to continue happening, because the third goal's route 1. Space is going to happen because we're going for the win now. We're trying to push on. So inevitably, they are going to counter-attack. But as Spurs being Spurs, you need to be... Our strength is in our front line. So it doesn't make sense trying to invite teams on if we've got a poor defense. To me, that makes no sense. Why make it make sense? Like, why would you have a shit defense and say, "Oh, come and attack us"?
Yeah,
you know what, son?
Yeah,
bro, it's just madness. Like, I don't get it, bro. So
I just want to add on to that. But what I don't get, you heard Stellini. Stellini's come out and said these aren't tactical problems. These are players' mistakes. They're individual errors. I guarantee you, against Newcastle, it will be exactly the same team.
Yeah, it will.
It will be exactly. It'll be okay. You've all fucked up, but don't worry. We'll give you another chance. We'll give you another chance to fuck up. If you fuck up and it's personal and it's individual errors, you take the players out and say you fucked up. You've lost the position. You look at it. Pape Matar Sarr was good against Palace. Was incredible against AC Milan. Was the only player I think that could leave with his head held high from the North London Derby shit show at the at White Hart Lane. Yeah, he ain't started a game since.
Yeah.
Højbjerg has been, and he's my favourite player, has been goddamn awful in the last few games.
Yes.
But no, you carry on playing.
We disagree on that, Brian, because I can't stand Højbjerg.
Alfie Devine, who is, to me, and people know my love for Alfie Devine, put that guy on the pitch. At least he'll give determination. He'll commit. He'll wear that badge for pride and will try to grab the opportunity. These players, they know, oh, you fucked up? Oh, okay, well, don't do that again because you might have to go on the naughty step. They do it again.
Same team.
You do that again, you might get lines or detention. They'll do it again.
Was anyone surprised with the lineup today? When you saw the lineup, it was exactly the same as last week. I know we won the game last week, but we might as well have lost it because it was that bad. The performance was that bad.
But who we got? That's the thing. Who we got? But obviously, the front line could be changed quite freely. But who else is going to play in certain positions?
I'd be playing Sarr, Dave. I'd be playing Sarr in midfield, and I think Sarr and Skip, when they played together, show at least they've got the legs to play in a two-man midfield. I don't think, Højbjerg, the stuff he does, that's better. I think he's better when you watch him close up than when you just watch him as part of the game. But the reality is he's very one-paced and very one-dimensional. I think Sarr and Skip playing in that role would be so much better. And Devine, as I agree, he's a player I like. I've not quite got the same love for him as Brian has, but I know where we're going with this. And it would be better now to give some of the talented young players we've got a run, rather than these old players that just aren't good enough. We've got no one, mind you, no one in defence that can come in. We've barely got enough fit defenders, and Lenglet going off was a problem. You go back to the Brighton game last week. I mean, I remember watching it on some of the catch up. I was out last Saturday, didn't see the game, but the two goals they had disallowed were very, very harsh, and they probably should have had one. In my opinion, two penalties. That 4 decisions that with VAR all went in our favour, and I think if 2 of them, you say 2 and 2, we lose that game as well. So you may as well try younger players, because this group of players are not getting us anywhere. They're certainly not getting us into Champions League.
This is what I mean, Ian. Right? So, and Brian makes a good point about the fact that players can make mistakes and they can be let off and everything else. Because the reality of it is, there's nobody there that can come in and do a good as a job as them. Our defence, if you take out one of Longley, Dyer, or Romero, you're left with Tanganga, Sanchez. Neither are any better than each other.
No.
You look in the midfield. Yeah, you can bring in Sarr, but Bentancur's injured. Who else have you got? Fair enough. We are so top heavy in terms of the players we've got at the top. We're so top heavy. Every single Spurs fan said in January, we need a centre half. We need an attacking midfielder. They're the two places in, and we needed a right wing back at the time. They're the 2 places we need to improve. We have to sign a left-sided centre back. We have to sign a decent centre back. We went and got Longley on loan, who, like I said, Barca didn't want him. There's a reason they didn't want him. Ash is right about the fine margins, and when you've got players that make those mistakes in those fine margins, that buckle under that pressure, it doesn't matter what they do tactically. They could change it and play 5 in midfield, or they could change it and play 4 up front. It won't make a difference, because those fine margins make all the difference. And if you don't have the desire or the commitment to go out and get the result, you're not going to get the result. It doesn't matter what you do tactically. We could have Pep Guardiola with Sir Alex Ferguson as assistant as our coaches. With those group of players, we'd have the same thing every single game, and it would make no difference.
Spot on. You hit the nail on the head there, because this is why we kept on saying, when Conte come in, give him the players that he wants. It's not only the players in certain positions that he wants. It's the mentality and stuff. He looks at the profile of the player. Yep. Have they got what it takes? Have they got what it takes to play in my system? Have they got the right mentality and right attitude? Not like, Levy going out and, he'll do. He's 10 million, or he's on a loan deal. Not looking at, profile of a player, if they sort of fit the system or anything. And this is what we've been saying. And a lot of people saying, yes, he's been backed. Yes, he's been backed. It's just insane to think that people think that he's been backed with the players that he's wanted. Yes, in terms of money's been spent. I'm not going to deny that. £60 million on Richarlison, £40 million on Porro. I'm not saying Porro's a bad player,
and then we sacked him a couple of weeks later. If he wanted Spence, he wouldn't be on loan in France right now.
Exactly.
What
Exactly.
you
I
got
feel
what you-
sorry for the lad. I feel sorry for the lad. He's ended up on loan, wasting
what-
everyone's time.
what you got to remember with Porro as well. If Conte really wanted him, why take 31 days? We do this every January. This guy wants him in, and not saying he would have made immediate impact, but if we'd brought him in and just paid the release fee that was there, he would have been there for the the Arsenal defeat, the Man City defeat. Every time, the year before when we did it with Kulusevski and Bentancur, we had 2 semi-finals against Chelsea, a league game against Chelsea. Could have been a game against the Filth, but we all know what happened last season when they ran away. Everything becomes such a strenuous ordeal to get everything. Like the most simplest transfers become ordeals and sagas. You look at Stellini. Do you know what? I couldn't care if he was sacked this week. I honestly thought once he. I mean, what team does that? Who sacks everyone but keeps one? But you look at it. I honestly thought now that he hasn't got Antonio Conte calling him to then stick to 3-4-3. You do this. You do. Try something. It's your gig.
Yep.
It's your gig for like the last 9-10. I'm not expecting miracles. We've got players. We're trying to play a 3-4-3. They came in via Poch and were familiar with a 4-3-2 or 4-2-3-1. Then they've had this formation. Then they've had that formation. But these players aren't. We've now got a right back in Porro that can attack and can't defend. We've got a right back who plays as right wing back in Emerson who can defend and can't attack. There's just you look at it, and this is where Ian and I will agree when it comes to the board. Is there's just absolutely no direction.
No.
It's like, okay, we'll go down this method of Conte and doing this. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, sorry, let's go back. We'll go Poch, who played attacking football, front foot. Then we'll bring in Mourinho that does the opposite. Then we'll bring in Nuno who knows what he wants to do.
I've said for a while, Brian, I don't think Levy. I mean, Levy is by any standards an intellectual. You know, first class honours degree from Cambridge in land economics. But when it comes to football, he's totally incapable of anything that resembles joined up thinking. Totally incapable of it.
I mean, it's all arse covering exercises at this stage. That's what it is. This is why, you know, we're bringing in this manager, that manager. It's an arse covering exercise for you know who. Thou shalt not mention his name. We know who we're talking about. But it's paying out money to save your skin. And that's why we're here talking about the club's got no direction, because there's one man hanging on to his job, trying to save face and trying to win the fans back. And he's paying out loads of money for it. Conte, Mourinho, you know.
Giving himself a pay rise every year.
Exactly. And then giving himself a pay rise. Look, for me, it's just a shambles from wherever you look at it, you know. And then announcing Scott Munn last week. All right, you've told us what he's done in Australia, but what's he going to do for this club? Have you explained
he's on gardening leave?
What he's going to do for this club?
Daniel Levy.
He's on gardening leave till July the 1st. So So until July the 1st, so the season ends at the end of May. It is the end of May still, isn't it? The season's finished. But look, so for the month of June,
it ended 3 weeks ago, Brian.
I think for me it ended a little bit earlier than that. But yeah, you're right. But he can't do anything till July the 1st.
But Daniel Levy, that's what I'm saying. Daniel Levy had Paul Mitchell, probably the best sporting director out there. Paul Mitchell turned around and went, "No, I can't work with him. I can't do this. He doesn't listen, doesn't do what I advise him to do. What's the point?" And that's been the story with all the director of footballs we've had over the years. Every single one of them have all said the same thing. I can't work with Daniel Levy because he does what he wants to do and he doesn't listen to our opinions. When are the fan base going to unite and say the common denominator in the last 21 or 22 years is the chairman of the football club? It's literally as simple as that. Yeah, he's done great things off the pitch. You've got a great stadium, great training ground. I don't give a crap. I don't give a shit what property we got or what golf course we're buying or we're putting a go-kart track under the stadium. I want to win a trophy. I want to see my team lift a trophy. I don't want to go through this same rigmarole every single season, this rinse and repeat cycle. We go through manager and then it's like, oh, season ticket renewal. Let's get excited about a player we might sign. Oh, no, that didn't happen. Then we go back again halfway through the season. It isn't working. we come on channels like this and we all have a bitch about it. And then the same thing happens again. And we have to unite eventually and say, you know what, mate? Your time's up. Your Hail Mary was with Antonio Conte. You fucked that up. Time's up. Piss off.
Guys, I just wanted to get it out there. But a lot of people calling for Poch to come back in. Obviously, today during the game, his name was sung out again. Look, I'll give you my take on it before I ask you guys. But personally, for me, under this ownership, with the current state of this club, I don't think it's the right time or the right fit for him to come back. And I would be really careful of what these fans wish for and what they're calling for, because for me, it's not going to end well. But I just wanted to get your view on it. I mean, anyone can answer, Pochettino back to Spurs. Is it really the answer?
I'll happily go. No, he's not the answer. People forget that he went a year without winning an away game before he left. The same fans singing his name was singing for him to be sacked.
Correct.
That's the reality. At the end of the day, he is a yes man and was a yes man to Daniel Levy. The guy went 3 transfer windows without signing a player. So, no, he isn't the man. Daniel Levy needs to be challenged by somebody. Bringing Poch back is just going to be a move for Levy to appease the fans and go, look, I did exactly what you want.
Boom.
I got it back.
They're playing into his hands. They're playing. The fans are playing into his hands, in my opinion, by chanting his name and wanting him back. Because what will happen is, it'll bring him back, and he'll say, "Right, I've got him now," and everyone will be happy again. Everyone will be like, "Oh, like nothing's happened again." We can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. Honestly, I mean, Ash, what do you think?
It's a tough one because obviously, I understand why the fans are calling for Poch, because of the negative football on the pitch. They're seeing us play 5 at the back at home against Bournemouth. I had to laugh because it's unheard of. Like, who plays 5 at the back against Bournemouth?
Relegation fodder.
Relegation, like it just. So when we start going 2-1 down against Bournemouth, of course you're going to hear Poch, because the fans are desperate. They'll take anything right now. So they're going to go to the last manager that was attacking, because remember, Conte, before Conte, it was Nuno. Before Nuno, it was Mourinho. All of them were counter-attacking defensive managers. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the reason why they were calling for Poch. It was a happier time. He got us to our first Champions League final. We were actually competing for the actual title when we were under Poch. Yeah. So I do understand, but I do get it. Like, we were winless for a year. We were like 14th, was it? Were we not 14th? Yeah. When we got sacked, it was crazy. The form was nuts. But again, it just comes back to Levy again, because not only was he not backed for a couple windows, but and obviously Poch had to deal with the whole stadium move, not having a stadium to play in. But you have to remember, when he did want to get signings in, he was like, "Please give me,
begging you,
give me a player where I got a pre-season with them and I can do some training in them and I can embed them into the squad. I can understand their mindset, etc., etc." Levy's like, "No, I want to save money on that. I'm going to save money on that. I'm going to do my lastminute.com transfer, and I'm only going to maybe buy one of the players, not even your top target, because I won't go through the names, but Levy has got a habit of being an opportunist, rather getting the player that the manager wants there and then. And that's been repeated throughout each and every manager that we've had now. So I don't expect that to change because a Scott Munn's there, for example. I just think that's a piece of PR. But even if Poch was to come back, like, a leopard doesn't change his spots. I still expect the same situation. Like, for me, the biggest problem with Spurs at the moment is that we don't have technical players. What I mean by technical players is someone that can hold the ball under pressure and they want it. They just want it. They're not scared of the ball. They're like, "Give it to me. I don't care how many players around me. Give me the ball and I've got this." Do you understand? Bentancur was the only player that could get the ball under pressure and literally push us up the midfield, push our team up. Skip can't do it. Sideways, backwards. Højbjerg definitely sideways, backwards. He always gets nervous.
He beats his chest, though.
Say again?
He beats his chest.
Oh, yeah. He does the pointer finger in chest and all of that. The Viking. Yeah, come on. get the crowd up. But I'm talking about actual technical ability. Even when it comes to the defenders, we don't have technical enough defenders to play out from the back. Even the goalkeeper, we don't have a goalkeeper that can technically play out from the back. And that all teams know that. And we play with 5 players at the back that aren't technically good enough. We play with a double pivot that aren't technically good enough. So when we do play out from the back, guess what? Teams like Bournemouth, all they need to do is press us. They pressed us. We made a mistake. Bang, bang, bang. 3-2. What can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say? And we won't. The Levy won't get the. He will get something closer to a technical player. Oh, why get this technical player? Why not get this player? He's cheaper. You know, like when you used to go shop with your mum. Mum, can I have that chocolate over there? Oh no, we've got the Asda brand. Take the smart price. That's Levy. You know what I'm saying? He won't get the number, like whatever we want. He'll get the cheat. He's the opportunist.
That's the opposite.
He's the opportunist. And I can't get mad at Poch for that. Like, do you understand? I can't be like, but like you said, Poch is a yes man. So yeah, man. I don't think we'll go for Poch though. I think we'll go for someone else personally.
I think I'll just come in here because I need to.
Ian, if you want to just go before you,
before I need to knock off. I think if we were getting Poch, we would have had him by now. I'm hearing stories that there's division within the boardroom as to whether we bring him back, whether we don't. I think part of the problem is that Poch becomes a little bit like the girlfriend you had before the woman that you married, that suddenly you remember everything that was good about that relationship and you forget everything that actually wasn't good about it. And as someone said, we hadn't won an away game for 11 months before he was sacked. We were languishing in 14th or whatever. I'd say maybe 5 points off top 4, but we were on a slippery slope to nowhere. And I think a couple of weeks before he was fired, and I forgot about this, we lost 7-2 at home to Bayern Munich. Yeah. So, we can all romanticize about Poch, and he did give us some phenomenal nights and afternoons as the manager. But I just think also the optics for the board are really awful, because then the Bryans of this world will be absolutely justified in saying, well, there's the proof of your incompetence, because you wasted 3 years pissing about with Mourinho, Conte and Nuno when you could have just backed the man that you had. So I don't think it will be him. I'm not sure who it will be. I suspect whoever they've got their eyes on is already in a job, and that's the issue. Whether it's company, I don't think that would be a bad appointment. I think, Brian, you're Thomas Frank in the Thomas Frank. I think a lot of people have put their name to Slot in Feyenoord, and he's done a really good job there. I'm a fan of Postecoglou at Celtic. I know people say, well, it's only Celtic, except for he's won the Australian League with Brisbane, who are not the most fashionable side. He's won the J League, and the last manager to win the J League before coming into English football didn't do too badly, unfortunately. He took the Australian team to the World Cup, and he's got a real eye for a player. The fact that Scott Munn is an Australian makes me hopeful that that's the person that we'll go for. And I think that would be a proper long-term project, a man who knows the Asian market extremely well, and will bring in, if you look at it, he's brought in about 12 players into Celtic, and not one of them has failed. All of them.
You'll love the marketing of that.
Say that again?
Daniel Levy will love the marketing ability of the Asian market.
This is the whole point, isn't it? We all get hung up on money. I don't care if we won the league with 11 free transfers. Would anybody complain? It's not the expenditure that's the problem. It's the abject lack of quality of it. It's who's making those decisions, who's doing the due diligence. And what have you. So I do have to go. Brian, we'll no doubt talk again. We probably need to go back and do another stream. I'm down for the Palace game.
We'll see each other.
My invitation to the coronation didn't turn up after all, so I'll have to go at the football. But I don't know if you're around Friday the 5th around then, Cockfosters, we can go and have a beer and solve the problems of the
Well,
world.
no, I'll have an alcohol-free one with you. Yeah, for sure. We'll go have dinner.
Yeah,
with him.
whether we do it. Hash, thanks for having me on.
Very
Dave,
welcome.
and Ash, thanks for everybody, and especially in the chat as well. Some great comments in there. And come on, you Spurs.
Ian, I'll give you a call this week. We'll do a video this week.
Okay, let me know. I'm around.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, Joe, I'm just gonna whilst here for Joe, I'll just give with Poch, what you've got to listen. There's 2 times in my life I was proud to be a Spurs fan, like proper, always proud, but the golden eras. One, Paul Gascoigne. Watching that guy for 2 years was just the most incredible time ever. And the Mauricio Pochettino era.
It marks his anniversary, right, Brian?
Yesterday was 32
Yesterday.
years ago that the free kick was taken, which I also didn't know. It was also the very same day that Danny Rose scored the volley against the Filth. So they share I didn't know that till yesterday. But anyway, Pochettino, I love that man. I wasn't one of the men that wanted him out. The not winning 11 months away. It's funny what happens when you don't buy a player for the entire season before, isn't it? Players might be a little bit tired or a little bit worse for wear, no refresh, but still doesn't excuse it. But I love the idea of Pochettino coming back to this club. I love the idea of Pochettino saying, I want to win a trophy and trying to write it. I don't want him anywhere near this football club under Daniel Levy. I want him as far away. I would book him a one-way ticket to Australia if I could reach him and he'd take it, because I want Pochettino to come back and have a chance of the fairy tale, not the nightmare. If he comes back under new owners and they say, right, Poch, you're our man, here's your money. No, I'm not saying it's going to be billions or whatever, but you are getting what you want for your team. We are getting out who you want. I will welcome. I will be Poch all the way. All the way. I don't want him back. To come back, what? To a 4-year-old Hugo Flapianski, to a 4-year-old Dyer, a 4-year-old Sanchez, a 4-year-old Davies. You talk about the fans that were chanting to get him out and now chanting to get him in. It's the same players that threw him under the bus.
Spot on.
It's the Kane can't press. Son hasn't got that electric, or he's still quick, but he ain't. I don't want him anywhere near. I don't want him. If it works out that he does come back under Levy, will I then sing his name? You bet your ass I will. I am not singing his name to come back. I've got whoever the manager is, I will always back the manager. Always. But I do not want it to be. I'd rather Graham Potter. I'd rather Brendan Rodgers under Levy than goddamn Poch, because I hate if he comes back and he doesn't get back, then it fucks up. Then that first glorious period has a black mark against it. And I don't want that. I want him to come back and do what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it with the people. But if he comes back under Levy, then I'll support him. But if I had my choice, Poch, stay the hell away from N17 for your own sanity, for your own career, for your own peace of mind. Mate, I don't want anyone to come into this club. I want this club to rot right now, in all honesty. I want it to rot.
I think it's already at that stage, Brian. It is rotting at the moment. But what I wanted to ask was, are we setting Pochettino up to fail if we was to rehire him again? Because, everyone's singing his name and stuff. It's not going to end well. We all know that. But, people want him back just for the sake of pretty football. We're bored of watching this type of football. I do get it. It is mundane. But ultimately, in the long term, it's not going to work. It's not. I mean, like you said, he's coming back to all the players that he had under him before, like, your Dyers, your Sanchez's, your Kane, your Son, Lloris, Tanganga. All these players are still there.
Winks, when he comes back,
exactly. So what is he coming back to? But for me, the point is, Brian, and everyone else as well, it doesn't really matter who comes in. At this stage, it doesn't really matter who comes in. The only thing that's going to change is formation and tactics. That's the only thing that will change. But in terms of direction and what the manager wants and everything else, that's not going to change. That's still going to remain exactly how it is now. I mean, Ash, I'll come to you with this one. I mean, what do you think? Did you think it matters who comes in?
Oh, I said it already.
We do need someone to come in,
I think it's, look, with the fans, it's because of, sitting back, being ultra defensive for so long, and they're paying their hard-earned cash, and nobody wants to support their team. At the end of the day, it's entertainment. So nobody wants to watch boring football or shit football, because that's what it is. Against Brighton, we were shit. Yeah. Against Everton, we were shit. Southampton, shit. Sheffield United, shit. Like Wolves, shit. AC Milan, awful. Awful. So I understand, like, where people were just like, they're just sick and tired. They know we're not going to win anything, but if we're not going to win anything, at least give us some entertainment. Do you know what I mean? At least have a goal. At least make us have some pride and say, all right, cool. At least the boys tried and they turned up and they played for the shirt and they gave it some. Do you know what I mean? Because you'd rather go out losing a game by fighting rather than going out for a game and every week it's the same old team, same old players, same formation, and it doesn't work. It's like, we're not goal-getters. Do you know what I mean? And if we're going to lose a game, at least turn up. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it is. But for me personally, like I said before, with these current players, and you mentioned it as well, they haven't got the minerals, son.
No, they don't. You're absolutely
They've
right.
got the minerals, mate. I tell you.
They haven't got the cojones, mate.
On when he said they don't have the desire, they ain't got the fire in the eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Relight the fire. You know that Take That song? Your heart is my only desire. Hey, listen,
no one's relighting the fire with these players.
That's what they need to be playing in the training ground. They're playing them other songs. Nah, man, they need to put that song on because they ain't got that fire. They ain't got that fight. And for me, like when Dan Juma came on, at least he showed a bit of
grit.
Almost like, not common sense, but like the goal's this way, I'm gonna walk this way. You know what I mean?
I'm not turning around and knocking it back 30 yards.
Exactly. And you're giving the opposition something to think about. You're making the opposition, you're asking them questions, basically. If the players are further forward, then at least if I'm on the ball, I've got someone to pass to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not passing to someone that's 5 feet away from me. I'm passing to someone that's going to make an angle, is going to shape his body like he wants it. Because you can tell when a player wants it. You can always see it. You can always see and you can see when the players shy away from it as well. Do you know what I mean? You can see when players are pulling out of challenges, when they're not putting 100% in. Do you know what I mean? When they're not winning those second balls, when they're not putting everything in, then you know what I'm saying? There's certain things, there's certain challenges, and I thought all you had to do, not foul him, is put one hand on his hip just to unbalance him a little bit. That'll give you half a yard, and you can get a foot in. Those small little things cut his arm off. Do you know what I'm saying? Put him off a little bit. That buys you that little extra time. Do you know what I'm saying? And those little things can win you a game. Like you've seen, they were ready to defend with their heart and lives, Bournemouth. Like when we stuck it on them, they were getting a back 5 and a 4. Like they were ready to just stink it out. Do you understand? Yeah. They were ready because they know what? They said, look, we're staying in this league no matter what. Do you know what I mean? When it came to us, like, do we want this top 4? The amount of times we've thrown it away, regardless if we want top 4 or not. At the end of the day, as a Tottenham supporter, you just want your team to win games. Simple. Do you understand? Whether it's top 4, top 6, doesn't matter, top whatever. You just want to see your team win, especially when you know the team is not as good as you. Like they're in the bottom half and they're fighting for points. I get it. Like certain times, like these lower teams are gonna give you trouble. They're gonna give you headaches. Do you understand? But let's be the bigger team. Let's be more front-footed. And if we get beat by being front-footed, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? Don't let these other smaller teams come and certain times like Southampton dominating us, Everton getting bigger chances than us. Like, what's going on, Southampton, Everton? Like, is this Tottenham Hotspurs? Like, it's mad.
We're seen as easy touch.
Without Kane, listen, Kane If Kane wasn't there, bro,
Oh, mate, we'd be
we'd
14th.
just be above Bournemouth. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
just above Bournemouth because there's no one that say, look, don't worry, Kane, I've got it today. Today I've got it. I'm gonna take it.
I think even Kane gave up today, Ash.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. And it's a joke. And like I was like, when Son scored, I was like, finally, Son's gonna turn up a little bit more, and then some of the players will get behind it. But I couldn't understand for the life of me, Ollie Skip, to me, looked like the attacking midfielder.
Yeah, mad.
He's not an attacking midfielder, bro. What are we doing? Why we got Ollie Skip pushing high up as an attacking midfielder? The only shot he had was against Chelsea when he scored that goal. But apart from that, in his entire career, I've never seen him as an attacking midfielder.
Because we didn't buy one. That's why. We didn't buy an attacking midfielder. That's why.
Well, we're using
It's
stopgap,
quite simple,
aren't we?
isn't
So it's pretty much like a stopgap. Yeah, you can sort of slot in there and try and do a job for us, But look, Ash, and I'll come back to you as well, Dave. We're talking about we just want to win games and stuff, but why shouldn't we, as fans, right, who are sold a dream, by the way, before we moved into the new ground?
Yeah, definitely.
Why shouldn't we expect more? Why shouldn't we expect to win things, expect to win trophies and stuff?
No,
I'm sure people
do.
are fed up of being bantered week in, week out, and
we do.
We're not a bottom half club. We've come to, we've sort of solidified our position as a top 6 club, right? And with that comes expectation. But before we moved into the new stadium, the fans were like all sold a dream. This is the next level. This is the next step. We've got the best training facilities. We've got the best stadium in Europe. We're going to bring in the best players. We're going to be competing in the Champions League every season. So why has that changed all of a sudden?
Listen, I'll tell you why it changed. Sorry to cut you, my brother. Listen, I'll just be quick. When Mourinho came, bruv, even I got gassed. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, Mourinho, this is the difference. We were linked to Dybala. Every fan was panicking, not just Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United. Everyone was scared of us. They're like, oh no, they're actually going to do it. So that expectation as fans, it was no longer about just winning or the style of play. I think most fans said, you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a shit about the play. We've got Mourinho now. We're going for it. We're going for that win. We're going for those cups. We're going for the title. We're no longer that meaty team. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, a few months later, a year and a half later, guess what happens? Jose gets sacked. Boom. All right, cool. They bring in Nuno. All right, okay, I get it. They're trying to do that kind of project thing. I see, whatever, not project, but that kind of like drop the expectation down a bit. Like, we're going to rebuild and all that type of stuff. Didn't work. Obviously, Nuno didn't cut the mustard. He's basically Mourinho B version. You know what I mean? He's like smart price, Mourinho. Then you get in man like Conte. Conte comes in and we're like, listen, Mourinho past his prime, whatever. That's what the narrative was at the time.
Yeah. Conte
is ready now. We need ready now play. And so the expectation was there again. So the expectation went down with Nuno, but it went back up. We didn't care about the style of football. And you know what's funny? Under Conte, we were attacking. The counter-attacking was working. We were creating chances. We had the highest chances created. We were like third or second when it came to goals scored, etc., clean sheets, everything. He transformed us. We moved up the table. And we got to that 4th spot. And then that summer, the expectation was super high. And the fans were about trophies. They wanted to win cups. They wanted to even, some man would say, you know what? We might even push second this season. That's what the expectation was. So
the thing is, right? I'm in a group chat, right, with some mates of mine, and they're like Arsenal, United fans. 90% of my family are Chelsea fans, right? I can't even banter Chelsea at the moment because they're like, yeah, they're shit. But look what they've won in the last 15 years. So I get what you're saying in terms of Conte, and it all comes back to that same narrative. The Dybala thing pissed me off because he wouldn't pay $3 million for his image rights or whatever it was. Because he thought, you know what, instead of getting Dybala, I'll go and get someone else who I haven't got to pay $3 million for image rights, who then rots away on the books for years and years and years. So it's the same common problem. The expectation is so high because Pochettino took us to such great heights that as fans, we were like, you know what? We're moving into this shiny new stadium. This is it. We didn't spend no money for free windows. This is it. we can spend 400 million a transfer window without breaching financial fair play. Mourinho's now in. This is it. We're going to back him. We're going to give him everything he wants, and we're going to win trophies. And then we're like 4 days for a cup final. I know what we'll do. We'll sack him. And then you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then we're like, oh, you know what? Okay, we're going to get Nuno in. We've tried for 3 months to get a manager, and nobody wants to work under Levy. But Nuno will come work because he left Wolves. And then we're like, okay, yeah, things are, Nuno, I get the point. We get battered by United, and everyone's like, we won the Conte war. We got Conte. We won the war. He's going to get exactly what he wants. And then instead of giving Conte exactly what he needs, and I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about players. Conte's got this reputation. He's a checkbook manager. He's not. When he won the league with Inter Milan for the first time in years, he had Victor Moses at fullback. He had Ashley Young at fullback.
Ashley Young, yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. So when Conte goes to the board and he says, I've got you 4th place this season. I've got miracle in the Champions League. We pipped Arsenal. The buzz is high, expectations high. He's like, give me what I want. Give me Barella. Get me Bastoni. Get me these players I want. And Daniel Levy's like, here's Clement Longley. Basuma's available for 20 mil. I'll get him as well. But let's make a big name signing. Let's go and get Richarlison for 60 million. And then that should appease everybody. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll get a couple of youngsters. We'll get Jeff Spence. We'll get Destiny Udogie. We'll loan them out. We'll sign Emerson Royale because he's available cheap. So instead, again, of saying, Antonio Conte's probably sitting there going, I've just worked an absolute miracle getting you 4th place. You're now expecting me to be happy and commit my future to this football club moving forward and give the players the positivity they want and the fans the positivity they want. When you won't even give me one player that I want, are you fucking mad? So the expectation can be as high as you want. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to for me is the players on the pitch. That this badge on this shirt to us fans means so much. We have been bantered for years and years and years by Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, whoever. We get bantered by everybody because we haven't won a trophy in 20 odd years. That is not going to change under this current ownership, because when we get to that point, when we just need to kick on over the line, Daniel Levy looks at his checkbook and he looks at his PDF of the finances and goes, to get us over the line, it's probably going to cost me 20 mil. I can probably pay myself 10 mil if we don't. And that's what it comes down to me. All I want is the players to go onto that pitch and play for the shirt like they give a shit. And half the players who walk around and pick up their checks week in, week out, they don't care. And that's what it is. They don't care. At least from Sanchez today, he got upset because the fans were giving him shit. We know he ain't good enough. We know that as a club, he's not good enough. But as long as players go out there and give it their all. So the expectation is there because Daniel Levy set the expectation. He set the expectation and set it on fire.
Look, Brian, as well as anyone else, my views on the club and the ownership. I think we've just become a huge marketing gimmick. It's not about winning stuff. It's about bringing in big names and big faces just as a show of, look who we got, and selling stuff. That's what it's become.
Yeah,
it's become advertisement to make money, and this is what pisses me off the most. We've the board have deviated away from, running a successful football team, and they're just concentrating on how much money can we make, how much can we, if we bring this person in, how much can he bring in for us? Oh, we've got Son, we can crack the Asian market. Oh, we're bringing Conte, best manager in Europe. People, it's the problems are from top to bottom. Top to bottom. Whoever comes in, I don't think will fix the problems at Tottenham, if I'm being honest with you. Until the board go, that's when the problems will sort of dissipate, in my opinion. Because there isn't no one on this God's green earth that could come in and say, right, I'm going to fix this club top to bottom with Mr. Daniel Levy in charge. And on that, I'm going to leave it on that fault. If anyone else wants to add anything else, please feel free now.
Yeah, I'll just add on this. Well, you got to remember with this club as well. If we're not the Champions League, there's a very big possibility Harry Kane is going. He's leaving this football club.
For sure.
He leaves this football club. We are a bottom half of the table team. We will not identify or buy a striker. And if we do, it won't be nowhere near the caliber of Kane. We won't bring in it will literally be Dane Scarlett. Dane Scarlett, who I rate as a player. They'll think, oh, well, Harry Kane did that at a young age. Let's do that again and we'll strike gold. He goes, if we're going to be cannon fodder, we're probably not going to be in Europe. Managers don't want to come. Managers are talking. We don't want to come. And people go on about, I'll end it with the protesting. People go on about, oh, there's only a few numbers. There's only a few of these. There's only a few of that. Well, I started going on We Are Tottenham TV 3 years ago, or 30 months ago to be precise. And I was probably one of the only, if not probably the loudest Levy out person on the YouTube circuit, like on the channels. Like everyone saw me. I was the one that. So don't get me wrong, this isn't just me, but there was Stell, there was Danny Kiriakou who's in the chat. There's a few of us in YouTube, but there's a load of people who I do the protest with, who are on Twitter or on everything. There's a big group of us, and people want to belittle us. But I think Dietrich is in the chat as well. So if Dietrich Kane is in the chat, big up my Canadian brother. You look at this for such a small group. We've got into the New York Times, the Washington Post, or whatever the Washington Post. Loads of publications in America, plus Canada, worldwide. Sky Sports, BT, TalkSport. Every single channel is talking about it. Every single written media is now talking about it. All the TV, whether it be BT Sports, Sky Sports, it's the tip of everyone's tongue. And this is with a bunch of small people. Can you imagine what we could achieve with a big amount? Can people remember what happened with Alan Sugar?
Yeah.
Yep.
From small acorns grow big trees, and we've achieved all that with our small numbers. Yet here we are, 23 years on with one trophy. The owners are getting richer, the club is getting poorer. It says established 1882 on the stadium. I'm thinking of doing two things at the moment. I mean, they're using one of our sponsored Dulux paints and writing Levy out across the stadium in his own sponsored paint, or getting someone to engrave next to established in 1882, killed in 2001. This is what's happening to the football club, and now has become the time where the time for talk is over. The time for the hashtags, we're past it. If people want change and genuinely want it, come and support it. Come and don't use your fingers on your keyboards. Don't use your mouth in groups, in chats, in WhatsApps, in whatever. Use your feet, left foot, right foot. Get down to N17. Do what Ashmatic did last week from South London, which, all right, it's still in London, but believe me, it's a slap and a half, especially by public transport.
It is, yeah.
And 2 hours of your Saturday to go all the way back. Not even to watch a game. This is all done. Playtime is over. If you want it to change, there's only one way it's going to happen. You've got to come and help us. You've got to come and support us. People like Scott M and Dietrich, who are in Canada, if they were here, they would be with me step by step, side by side. And I can say that for many international fans. Please, if you want your Tottenham back, if you want this nightmare, this comedy, this embarrassment to end, there's only one way it ends. And it's fans united and getting these bastards out. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
End on something that very quickly that obviously I said a little while ago on our stream, but it's relevant now. Tottenham Hotspur, there used to be a football club over there.
Correct. Well, listen, Has I got to go? I'm 2 minutes late for filming something on Tottenham.
Yeah, Brian, no problem. Thank you for coming on the show, mate. Just let us know where we can find you.
Yes, Tottenham on tour. I'm just about to record with Ben Kaufman. Danny may join us if he wants to. We have a Sunday show where it's called the Spurs Review or the Tottenham Review of the Week. This one's going to be fun. So we're going to record that. That'll be out 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So when you have your coffee and tea, and you want to see me rant, Ben rant, maybe Danny rant, and talk about the wonderment and the glory days that this club is offering us in embarrassment, you can find us there. Has always a pleasure. Dave, good to see you, mate.
And you, mate.
Ashmatic, always my brother.
Big up,
Speak
big
to you
up, big up.
soon.
Love.
And as always, Levy out.
Leave you out.
Yeah,
Cheers, Brian.
Yes, Brian. Big up, man.
Make sure you get over to Brian's channel. Make sure you support him. Make sure you watch his shows as well. Absolutely fantastic. He's the biggest advocate for Leviat that I know, and he does a lot for the cause as well. And this is from a guy who lives all the way in Canada, comes over here. As soon as he's over here, he's straight on it. You know, just puts a lot of people to shame, really. But he does a lot for this community, and he does a lot for the football club as well. So get over there, support him, support his channel, and make sure you you tune in next time he's on. Guys, I mean, I'm happy to stay on a little while longer. I have sent out a link to Danny Kiriakou if he wants to come on. Danny, the link's in the chat if you want to come on. I can send it to you privately if you want. But look, guys, I just wanted to say, where do we go from here? Is top four finished now? I mean, realistically looking at it, you know, United's playing tomorrow. Technically, we are still in it. But there's a tough run. There's a tough run. You know, we've got Newcastle, United, Liverpool coming up. Historically, we don't do well against Liverpool. United are United. They'll show up even if they had one defender in their defence. And Newcastle away, they're going to want to sort of bounce back after today's dismal showing against Aston Villa. So, as you see it going, Dave, I'll start with you.
I can't see us getting much out the next few weeks, to be honest, mate. Newcastle worry me. The Newcastle game worries me. I just think that it's so ingrained in the players that we have that I can't see us getting much more for the rest of the season. I think top four is done. I think top four was done a couple of weeks ago. Southampton probably killed top four for me. We got a bit fortunate, obviously, with the Brighton game, which gave everyone a little bit of a lift. But as you said, Liverpool, we don't do well against Liverpool. We never have done, really. There was a time when we were above Liverpool. Everyone remembers it. We beat them 4-1 and whatever else. And then they just went poof, and we stayed stagnant, stayed where we were. Newcastle beat us next week, I think. And I think that kills it completely. I think, I don't know, Brian's right. You know, jump on the protest. I mean, I haven't been down to one yet, but even this week, I'm gonna jump on a train and go 2 hours down to one, because we got to start talking with our feet. But I don't really know what to say anymore. As like, you know, in terms of the team, in terms of the games coming up, we have such a difficult time. Some difficult games coming up, really difficult games. But it doesn't matter who we play, because we make every game a difficult game. We made Sheffield United a difficult game. We made Southampton a difficult game. We made Everton like prime Barcelona. You know, they're knocking it around in 2s and 3s and triangles around our team while we all sit on the edge of the box. Harry Kane playing as a centre defensive midfielder. You know, so top four's done. Like I said to you earlier in the stream, I don't want us to get Europe. I don't want us in Europe. Because I think the board need a wake-up call, and I think they need to go, shit, what have we done here? Because we've always lived off, we're getting Champions League. We've got Champions League. We've got Champions League. It ain't enough for me anymore. It ain't enough. I want more.
Yep, no hope for Dave then, and Dave doesn't want Champions League, so I suppose you'll be all right over the next 3 weeks when we're getting battered by those said 3 teams. Ash, what do you think? Done or welcome, Dan?
Welcome, Dan.
What's going on, everyone?
Good, yeah.
All good. I'll come to you in a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, it's mad still. I can't lie. Newcastle away. It's looking very spooky right now. It's looking gloomy, but you can see it from. When was the last time we played well? Like we had a good performance. I'm struggling to think.
Arsenal last year when we beat them.
City, 45 minutes.
This season,
that's the last time I enjoyed watching Tottenham, was when we beat them at home last season.
Yeah, this season's been a complete write-off, and so even today, like deep down, I think every Spurs fan knew we were going to lose against Bournemouth because we played so poor against Brighton. Deep down, we just knew. We were lucky. We got VAR was on our side. The ref was on our side. So that's the only reason why we came out with a positive result. Against today, obviously, we lost. Like I said, we ain't got the minerals. And then against Newcastle will press us high and we'll make mistakes. The same thing as like what happened today. The defenders will try to play out from the back. They know we're not good at playing out from the back. If we try to go long through Lloris, they'll win the ball there as well. So we just won't have the ball. I think Newcastle will have the ball more and they'll just create a bucket load of chances and we'll eventually end up losing that game at St. James's Park. And then we go to, Man United come to us and we just never, ever get a result against Man United. Man United always turn up against us. Then we've got Liverpool. So like that's 2 back-to-back, like, at that stage, Kane's thinking, get me out of there now. Get me out. And the funny thing is, when we lost Moussa Dembele, right? We didn't replace him. We suffered. Then when it came to Kyle Walker, we didn't replace him. We suffered. And then when it came to like Eriksen, we didn't replace him. We suffered. Then it came on to like the centre backs. We didn't replace them. And now look at us. The centre backs, that's what's killing us at the moment. Yeah. We've not replaced those centre backs. And now like Lloris has just joined in. Do you know what I mean? This is the season where he's just decided, yeah, you know what? I've had enough. Do you know what I mean? And so now you've got a goalkeeper, centre backs, no attacking mid, no wing. The wing back situation just kills us because, like I said before, like we are the highest team to cross in the box, the highest team to put crosses in the box. Yeah, what are we doing with those crosses from open?
How many crosses did Porro had today? He must have crossed it about 50 times.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe how many crosses he put into the box today, and just nothing.
And just nothing. That tactic doesn't work. We've got the 2 midfielders, like Skip was playing attacking mid. I said it before. Don't make sense to me. Make it make sense.
Skip that one, bro.
All right, cool. Like my man said before, I think it was Ian, but we're top heavy, man. We ain't got no back off. Like it's crazy. It's like our buff team was with Marga legs. It's crazy. Like we were like, Miss Trunchbull from Matilda.
Yeah,
like, you get a mad frame, like triangle, but then the leg was mad skinny. Like,
yeah,
that's Tottenham, isn't it? Like,
you know oh my God, that's actually quite perfect. That's quite good.
But what I'm saying is, after those two games, Newcastle and United, then we go to Liverpool. Oh, bro, just Aston Villa undefeated at 7. We couldn't write the script anymore. Like, what can I say? If people aren't leaving out by then, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. No, it's not. It's the players. No, it's the manager. Like, I don't know. But that's it, really. That's all I got to say. Over to you, Dan.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Ash. I have to agree with everything you said, mate. That was quite funny. I missed Trunchbull. Mr. K, what's happening? Welcome to the show.
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
I heard your call, so I sent you the link. Did you watch the game today?
Yeah, I watched it. I kind of watched it in the background while I was finishing some decorating, but yeah, it was good. I was focusing more. I was focusing more on the decorating than I was on the game, to be honest.
Nice. See what I mean? Put your time into better stuff.
I'm telling you, it's the way forward, man. It's the way to be if you're a Spurs fan. Like,
Danny,
I just find it fun. Mate, I was watching paint dry. That's the thing. I actually was watching paint dry. So, and it was definitely more interesting. I'll tell you that.
100, mate. 100.
Look, I find it funny. There's so many Spurs fans that kind of, like obviously people on the panel here now, and we know the people who know what the situation is like. But I was listening to Last Word on Spurs, and it's funny how some of them now are kind of changing. I know, like a lot of people are starting to change their kind of views, but it's funny how people moan still about. I mean, I saw it today. I put a tweet out right before, just as the game finished. And I said, I did but it's Conte's tactics. Wait until the fans start saying Stellini out. And it's already started. Like, fans are already saying Stellini's the problem and this and that. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, honestly, you people are fucking blind. It's actually mind-blowing that people are actually saying Stellini out, this and this, because it doesn't matter who comes in. The same thing's going to always happen with all the players. It's the same shit. We all know this, right? And I find it funny how people are not happy with this situation, because to me, I'm a very vocal person when it comes to blaming a lot of the fan base, right? Because to me, and I don't care how anyone takes me, but to me, the fans are still a problem, because until the fans start acting right, that Daniel Levy is the fucking cause of everything that happens at this club, nothing will change. Nothing ever will change. We're going to keep going another 2 years. Poch could get hired. He's going to fail again. Fans will start blaming him. Then we're going to see a cycle with the next manager and the next manager until, look, I've said it. Daniel Levy and ENIC have had a 30-year plan the day they got into the club of gentrifying Tottenham, and that's all their plans ever been. The way they managed to do it was by buying the club. Like Daniel Levy said himself, it was an investment opportunity to buy the club. No footballing reasons why they bought the club. He even said it in his fucking BT mini documentary he did about a month ago or so.
Yes.
And he was still saying it then. He was talking more passionately about building the... Yeah. He was talking more passionately about building the homes that he's going to be building and how much this area is going to change. I mean, this is a guy who has got no care whatsoever about the football club and about the football side of things. As long as they're making money, as long as they're doing that so they can help for their funding with their gentrification of the area, that's all that matters. And I know people like me who have a season ticket and everyone else who wants to go. I'm not saying don't buy a season ticket, because I'm still going to renew, because I had to wait fucking nearly, 12 years, 10 years to get my season ticket. It took me a long time to get my season ticket. So I'm not going to let go of it, because I want to pass it to my kids when I have kids and stuff like that. So I want it in the family. So the only way, and I've said this a million times, the only way...
You want your kids to suffer as well?
Oh, mate, they're going to have to be honest with you. They're going to have to. They've got no other choice. I was born into it. They're going to be born into it. That's how the way it is.
Oh, man.
It's the way the cookie crumbles. But the thing is, like, I couldn't have a kid and them support another team. It's just not right. It's just, for me, it's not right. They're going to have a Tottenham shirt and an Ajax shirt the day they're born. So it's simple as that. They'll have two teams. At least they'll enjoy one. Yeah, at least they'll enjoy one team's football. So for now, anyway. But yeah, look, to me, I think the only way is things are ever going to change is if the fan base inside the stadium make the noise. Because I know, obviously, everyone has to go to the protest if you can go to the protest and things like that. But I've said it as well. Brian knows my stance on this, right? I've been to a few of the protests myself. The only way that they are going to take notice is if 50,000 fans in that stadium are singing "We Want Levy Out" every single game. That's the only way it's going to happen, right? Because that is the way. When you've got the cameras on, then the pundits are going to start talking about it even more. You're going to get the news talking about it even more. When you've got a whole stadium shouting "We Want Levy Out" or trying to put pressure on, or fans walking out because they've fucking had enough, then that's the message that you're gonna try and impact change, because we're not getting them out because they don't want to go. That's not happening. I don't condone any of this, what I'm about to say, but the only way to get Levy out is exactly how Alan Sugar got out, was when people were turning up to his house, threatening him and his family. That's when he was like, "No, I've had it. I'm done." That is the only way you're going to get him to sell the club. But then people are not going to do that, right? Because it's wrong, and you don't want to condone violence or any kind of things like this, right? So the only way you're going to do it is by trying to force them to put pressure on them to change, and that is by fans making their voices heard in the stadium and walking out the stadium. That, for me, is just the only way it's going to happen.
It has to be every game, Daddy.
This is the thing.
One game.
It has to be every game.
Start to finish. It has to be from minute 1 to 90.
And I'm saying,
I agree. It has to be.
The people that were booing at the end of the game today, there were loads of people booing. You know, they were trying to drown it out with music at the end. They turned it up really loud.
Of course they always do.
Those same people who booed at the end, you know, they obviously want some sort of change. They're not happy with something. Why not put that energy into the next few games to the end of the season and just chant, you know, we want Levy out or something throughout the game.
Yeah.
Make your voice heard. You've got a voice. It's not going to cost you anything. You're paying that season ticket price anyway. You go into the stadium, make your voice heard. No one's asking you to pay anything. No one's asking you to, you know, sacrifice anything. If you want to change, it's free. It's free. Go to the stadium and chant. Simple as that. It's easy enough to boo a player. Okay. I'm not condoning that as well, by the way. Booing Sanchez today. You know, we all know he's crap and, you know, he's not going to be here for long, hopefully, but it's wrong. You know, if a player's doing shit, it's not going to help, you know, and he had to be subbed off 22 minutes. Embarrassing for him, embarrassing for us as a club, and absolutely we're getting bantered left, right, and centre by every known media outlet known to mankind at the moment because of that, you know. So,
yeah,
rather than put your energy into that,
and has this
can't leave it at. Simple.
Yeah.
You think fans are scared though? I feel like fans are scared to say it.
But scared of what though, Ash? Is he
They're
going to
scared
chuck?
to say,
Is he going to chuck 50,000 fans out of the stadium?
No, I don't know. I feel like some fans, like, they're just scared to say, I don't know, it's a weird one. They might look across and they might look left and right and they don't have the balls to say, Levy out, like, because they might be by themselves saying it. It's different if you go with a bunch of people and you're like, some people just aren't vocal like that. You see what I'm trying to say? Am I making sense? Like,
the thing is, go on, Ash, go on, you carry on.
No, you can jump in. I don't mind.
The thing is, right, it gets to a point where, like, I'm fucking tired.
That's what
I'm exhausted, man. Like, I'm tired. I'm broken. I've had enough. And even if you are on your own, you don't want to make your voice heard. If you're that broken and tired and fucked off with it like me, eventually you get to a point where you go, nah, fuck this shit. Like, I'm going to do it anyway. Like, bollocks. But the problem is, it's like, Spurs is like what I call Tottenham a bipolar team. And the reason I say that is because we win a game, it's like, woo, we won a game. Then we lose, it's like, oh no, things are shit. The things are always shit. Just because we won one game doesn't mean things are good. It means things are still shit, but we got lucky. Or Harry Kane did something wonderful. The club is rotten. It's rotten. You know, you got fighting in the boardroom and everything else. So you get to a point as a fan, and I know what you're saying about, you know, people might not want to be vocal and everything else, but if everybody comes together and the fans need to come together, if 15,000 people can sign a petition to say we want Levy out, or if 10,000 people in the stadium can chant we want Levy out, drown out that PA system. If everyone's singing, if you're putting that pressure, intense pressure on a guy sitting there, he's going to start to sweat. He's going to start to sweat.
Yeah,
so that's what needs to happen.
I hear that. You know what it was? Like, when I was at the protests, like, I could tell people wanted to come in and engage, but they were too worried about being seen, like, you know, what other people thought.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to be the odd person out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, if everyone's doing something, it's easy to jump on it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, if everyone was doing Sanchez, then everyone can boo Sanchez. That's acceptable now. Do you understand? Or if the players don't play well and it's half time, it's acceptable to boo. But when you're going against the grain, even if you believe in it, I just feel like people are like, oh, respect those guys. I wish I could do that. It's that kind of type of mentality the fans have. And it's a weird one because, like you said, we go on shows, you get like 10,000 people liking the channel, saying, you know, Levy out. Yeah, man, I believe in you guys. Rare. But then when it comes to the crunch, they're just not on it. Like the players, they ain't got the minerals.
The thing is, it only takes one voice, and that's what people don't understand. It can only take one voice to change things around them. You know, one of these big Tottenham accounts, you know, someone like that who has that engagement or has that popularity to turn around and go, yeah, you know what, enough's enough. And then you'll start to get that what I call herd mentality, that sheep mentality.
Yeah, that's right.
The thing is, Dave, there's undercurrents of it now, right? That you can sense with the big channels out there. I don't want to name the channels, but everyone knows who the channels are. But there are undercurrents at the moment that their thinking is changing, but it's just getting them over the line to actually say it, say it how it is. Because at the moment, it's like, well, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. But it has to get to a stage where, just like what we're doing now, we've had enough. When you get to the stadium, we all need to unite. South stand, east stand, west stand, whatever it is. We can't leave his name to get at during, I don't know, on the 50th minute or whatever. Just allocate the time and do it. It doesn't have to be throughout the whole game, but at least make it enough so that it's picked up by the cameras, the mics and everything, and then it's spoken about. Because we need it to be spoken about over, across all platforms like media, Sky Sports, BBC. It needs to be put out there, and it needs to be relentless every single game.
I think if we were to get like sexed, maybe like 5 by Newcastle, and then another like doggy in by United, like 4 or something, like back to back, like that. Pause. But I think then the fans would be like, no, I can't take it no more. It needs to be embarrassing. No one's shameful, like slapped in your face, like.
Yeah, but then what would happen is the board would go, oh, look who we're linked with. We'll put a bid in for Neymar, who might be coming in the summer. The deal's close.
Well,
Everyone goes, ooh!
We've already tried that with Ansu Fati, innit, from Barcelona.
Exactly.
We're already trying that. But he got the Madisons out there saying, oh, yeah, Matt, we're linked with Madison. So fans are already looking at that shiny new object. Oh, what if that's what we need, an attacking midfielder? Oh, that's the player that's going to replace maybe Son. Like, you know what I mean? So already they're using their tactics already to kind of suck people in. But
just quickly, I just want to say, H. Harry, I know you've been messaging on the group for a little while now, but like from tonight's show. But what do you want to see happen? I know you're saying people aren't interested, or maybe you're not interested. And if Levy goes, what happens? But what do you want to happen? What sort of change do you want, or don't you want to change? Just let us know in the chat, because I'm sure a lot of us here as well, we want to see a change. Whoever that is, it is what it is. You know what I mean? We're willing to take that risk. You know what I mean?
You know what it is, Has? I think it's a thing where people don't believe like the protest is going to do anything, or trying out his name is going to make that change. I think that's why people are coming with that energy, like, oh, it doesn't matter if we say Levy out. The owners are still going to be there. It's that type of mentality is the reason why there's no action. Do you understand? If it was a different mentality where we thought like it's our club, we're running things, you get it, then I think it would be a different formation. But where these fans fit that they've got no hope, they say, what's the point? I'll say it on the internet, I'll tweet it, I might say it in a chat. Do you know what I mean? But that's the most I'll do. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to people face to face, like actually using their lungs or using their power, old school, like it's a different generation. I hate to say it, man. It feels like a different generation. Like it's not everyone's got that old school mentality, the old school way of thinking. Do you know what I mean? So I think things will change, but it just takes time. Look how long it took for it to get into the mainstream, like to get onto TalkSport, to get on Sky Sports News, to get onto BT Sport, to get on other like big channels. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're in a step in the right direction, but at least the conversation is being had in the community. Go on, Dan. You said.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what? Just to add on to your point, I think the way it happens is when people hit their breaking points. I've heard this a lot lately, and I think that's the only way I think we're gonna see the fan base unite and finally realize that this board are the problem at this club because of the way they run it, and in terms of the way they make the footballing decisions. So until those fans, the majority of those fans in that stadium especially, start to understand that this club is going nowhere unless the board change their ways or they go, then that's the only way that for me that anything's ever going to change at this club. And if they're going to stay and if they're going to change whatever it is, it's the only way. I think those fans have to realize that nothing's changing.
I think
until they hit that point, then I don't think anything's going to happen.
Also, going back to your first point with the whole thing with, getting sugar out, we got a couple threats and whatnot. I think that's how real change happens. I'm not going to lie to you, because when it happened to the Glaziers, no, it happened to Woodward. Sorry, when it happened to Woodward, remember Woodward was in charge.
He was gone.
He went.
He was
Listen,
gone.
as much as I like the money and the
He did a
football,
Forrest
the rest
Gump
of my
run,
family,
mate.
I'm out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm done. Do you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. Like, you know, like people got enough chat, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, innit? See, Buckman on roads, it's a different thing. You get it? Like, all the people with all that talk, and it's the same thing with Levy, bro. I'm telling you. As bad as it sounds, and obviously we're not condoling this, you have to say that disclaimer, bro, in 2023. But we're so soft as a society. I'm sick of it, bro. Why can't man just say what you want to say with your chest and done? Do you understand? People are going to get you cancelled and all of that. Brother, I don't care, man. Do you understand? And I think the fans need to have that type of mentality where that's why United fans, they're old school, man. It's like they're still in the 90s. Do you understand? We're too modern and yuppie. We're too Londonish. Do you know what I'm saying? We're too like snooty hooty. Where's the old school fans? Like when you used to go to a ground and be shook, like rah, police horses go, ah! They were scared too. Helicopters flying around.
But you know what it is?
You know what it is,
though, Ash? You know what it is also, I find, you know, like Manchester and all them Liverpool, it's a cult, like football is a culture. I think in London, we sort of like deviated from that, you know what I mean? It's just like a little spectacle here. Oh, you go to a match? Oh, yeah. But over there, they live and breathe it. They live and breathe it, you know, from men, women, kids, they all live and breathe it. And that's the difference. You know what I mean? When you go out to them sort of places, it's a different game. But look, we can sit down and talk about Levy and what needs to happen, you know, till the break of dawn. But I'll leave it at this. We're coming up to the 2-hour mark now, and I think people have got places to go. It's a Saturday night. Look, like we said before, like Danny said, like Ash said, like Dave, like everyone, Brian, you know, if you do go to the games, if you've got a season ticket, or if you just happen to buy a ticket every now and then, you know, go and show your support. If there is a protest, no one's saying go over there for an hour, stand outside and, you know, for an hour or whatever. But just take part in it for like 10, 15 minutes. It all helps. It all counts. You know, we're greater in numbers at the end of the day. You know, so look, if you want to change, then you've got to get up off your ass and you've got to do something about it yourself. You know, it's all good writing about it, but, you know, that time for change is coming now. We've got to do something. It's enough talking about it, enough hashtags and stuff. We need to put, you know, words into action now. So, you know, I'll always be Tottenham no matter what. I don't give a shit about the board, but the club live in my heart. So, you know, I'll always want change, and so do these guys as well. And we all give up a lot of our time to come and do these shows every single day or every other day, you know. So, look, yeah, so show your support. Show your support. Look, we're going to come to the end of the show. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that's joined us. Danny, thanks for coming on. Ash, Dave, appreciate your time. Everyone in the chat, I can go through your names, but it is a long list. So thank you very much for taking part. Danny, where can we find you next?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know, like
Somewhere
wherever.
In a bar or a coffee shop, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, somewhere.
You better be throwing your list up.
This is the first time. What's that?
I said you better be drawing up an itinerary for me when I come to visit you next month.
Oh, don't worry. That'll be dealt with. Don't worry about that.
That sounds quite worrying.
You should be worried. There's a lot of stuff going on. This is the first time I've gone on any stream since I've moved over, because the last couple of weeks I haven't been streaming. It's been hectic. So yeah, there's still a lot of stuff with the apartment that I'm doing. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing till it's ready. And then you'll see me start coming back on streams more consistently.
Big up. Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, yeah, Danny's been busy moving into his new pad in Amsterdam. So he's got bigger and better things to do at the moment, and rightly so.
I'll hit you up, Danny. I'll be there next month.
Oh, when are you going out there?
I'm going.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, I'm coming over in July.
Oh, July.
So
okay, cool.
A couple of months away. But yeah, I'll hit you up when I'm coming out, mate.
Cool. You've got loads of visitors already.
Let me know, because in the second part of July, if it's the second part of July, I'm not here because I'm going to be in Greece for 2 weeks. My sister's getting married. So if it's the beginning, then I'll definitely be around.
Yeah, so it's right at the start, mate. So I'll hit you up before I come over.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, definitely, man. Just send me a message. Just send me or get the number of Haz, and then Yeah.
I'll send the number over to Dave. And just quickly, it's Independence Day or something on the 5th of May, isn't it? Or is it like the day they were liberated in Holland on the 5th of May? It's like a liberation day. There's a big celebration.
My wife's Dutch, so I don't.
They've got a few bank holidays coming. They've got King's Day's first. King's Day's coming up first, which is like in April, which is like next week, I think, or week after next.
Nice, cool. Dave, where can we catch you next, mate? I know you've got. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm a host on the Park Lane podcast. We go Saturday mornings 11 o'clock, pretty much every week. You can normally hear me. I'm hot-headed, mate, so I'm the one that kicks off the most. I'm the biggest Levy out on there, so you get some opinions. Yes, come take a look, come subscribe. If you want to come chat to me personally, you know, my name's here, mate. That's my Twitter handle. Jump on, give me a follow, and we'll have a chat.
Make sure you get over to Dave's channel. Make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you have a little watch. Dave, thanks for coming on the show today. Obviously, we look forward to having you back on the next one at some point. Ash, you're a South Stand regular now. Like you're part of the family. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Ash is a part of the View from the South Stand team. He's on attachment at the moment though, so it's like a little, Ash, where can we catch you next? Because I know you're doing stuff at the moment with Marlon as well. You're doing other little bits and pieces. You had a show yesterday as well, preview show. Yeah.
We did a little. It was just a little something. It was for more transfer gossip, whatnot. So, for people that wanted to know what the latest rumors were, we spoke about it, managerial appointments, etc., blah blah blah, that type of stuff. Anything to do with Spurs, basically, we were talking about it. I mean, future shows wise, anything that comes up again, we'll be on it. And you can see me on hopefully in the end of the month review as well here.
Yep, we've got that coming up last Friday of the month, this month. Just see me around. I'm here in South London. You might catch me in Brixton, Clapham, or about. But yeah, man, that's it. I think the last thing, all I wanted to end on was us fans. We will outlast Levy. We will. Like the only here. 100. People think that Levy will be here forever. He won't. We'll just be a little bit older, but we can handle that. A couple grades here and there, poking, But yeah, we'll outlast him. People think Levy's going to be there forever. He won't, man. Once he's made his P and he gets his bill, he'll be out.
Ash. Unless he finds a way to freeze himself. Oh, stop that, Danny.
Yeah, Danny. That's another show, mate.
Yeah. You say what? Demolition Man. Yeah.
You guys I'll be freezing right? myself to meet him.
Have you guys seen Mars Attacks where Piers head on another body or something? You must have seen it.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like Black Mirror, man.
I've seen it,
uploads his imagination like in the cloud or something. Yeah, I'm Levy 2.0. I'm here to think of my thought now forever. Yeah. Yes. Fantastic stuff. Look, make sure you get over to all of these guys' channels. Make sure you watch them on YouTube, wherever it is, on the socials, Twitters, and everything else. Get over there. And if you've watched this show and you haven't pressed the like button yet, make sure you do. Don't wait. Press that like button. It's free. If you haven't subscribed yet, please give us a subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. But for now, come on, you Spurs. Big up. Love.